I'm just going to ask you some questions about the city and the country. I would like you to give your honest thoughts and opinions. I will not take offence at any answer you may give. There is also no right or wrong answers. Also, through this interview, when I use the word country, I am referring primarily to remote or rural New South Wales or other like areas. Okay. Were you brought up in a city or country area?
City.
Have you ever been to remote New South Wales?
Yep.
What do you think of when I say the word country? Like, what is your mental picture or image of the country?
Usually like a lot of farms and trees and a lot of greenery and less traffic, just very peaceful in general.
What do you associate with the country?
Healthy lifestyle.
Do you think of the country as disadvantaged?
I think in certain ways, because like maybe in terms of like Wi-Fi access or like say medical facilities or just access to anything in general is probably a bit less, because you probably have less people there, and it's also usually less developed compared to the city, so I guess there are like disadvantages.
So the next question was going to be, what are the disadvantages in your opinion? But you've kind of answered that.
Yeah.
So do you associate dirtiness or mud with country life?
Probably mud, yeah, because I think the country has a lot of good farms and that kind of thing, so you would obviously have mud.
Do you associate hardship with country life?
To a certain extent, I guess hardship in the sense that maybe a lot of the jobs or like lifestyle in general requires a bit more like manual labor, but I guess if you like that kind of lifestyle, then probably you wouldn't really consider it a hardship, because even if you live in the city, there's still going to be hardship anyway.
In general, what is your perspective of country life? So you can describe the people, work, environment, landscape, etc.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
In general, what is your perspective of country life? So you may describe people, work, environment, landscape, etc.
My perspective, I think it's quite nice, but at the same time, like I think it's nice because you can really have a slower pace of life, and you probably interact more with nature and it's more calm and peaceful, but at the same time, I don't think for someone who's been brought up in the city, I don't think I could possibly live there, even though it's very nice. It's probably somewhere I would go for like a vacation or if I need a break from something, but I don't think for someone who's lived in the city you would be able to live there long term, because you always want more.
Yeah. Are you generally annoyed when it rains?
Actually recently, yeah, like I don't quite like it when it rains because I feel like I can't study.
What temperature do you classify as a hot day?
Hot day, probably 30 degrees and above.
What do you think of when I say the word city? What is your mental picture or image of the city?
A lot of tall buildings, and it's always well lit, cars, noises everywhere.
What do you associate with the city?
A busy life, but depending on how you make it, it can either be just very stressful and mundane, or it can actually be something meaningful and fulfilling.
Do you think of the city as disadvantaged?
Yeah, I think in terms of mental health, or just in terms of like, having to take a break from things sometimes, I think you really have the opportunity. And because you're always so fast-paced, you always have something going on, you don't really have time to stop and think about why you're doing what you're doing, and it's always like a race kind of thing.
Do you associate dirtiness with city life?
I guess it depends, because to me dirtiness is just literally whether like it's dirty or not, and I think some parts of the city can be quite dirty because you just don't really take care of the city.
Do you associate hardship with city life?
Yeah, definitely, because even though there are many advantages to living in the city, I think all of it comes with a price to pay, and that is maybe like sacrifice of personal time or family time or something like that. So it's always hard.
In general, what is your perspective of city life? So you may describe people, work, environment, landscape, etc.
I think city life is just, I don't know, it's how I've always looked at as a way of life, you know, because for someone who's brought up in Singapore, you don't know what the country means really, because you don't even have the opportunity to like compare it. So I think it's just how it would be kind of, you get what I mean?
What are the differences between country and city in your opinion?
I think just in terms of like the overall atmosphere and the feeling, it's just completely different, and I think that's the main difference really. In the city it's always busy and it's always noisy and it's always like you always have people everywhere, but in the country it's always slow and calm, and yeah.
Thank you very much, that's all.